Thank you. High Commissioner Navi Pillay, Special Rapporteur on Trafficking, Ms. Joy Ngozi Ezelo, and Special Guest Moderator and speakers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights for making today's event possible. Above all, I'm grateful to the people who have suffered from trafficking and who are here with us today to speak their experience and to speak out about these horrible crimes. They are much more than victims or even survivors. They are champions of truth and justice. I salute their resilience and courage. Today's event focuses on their voices. Their testimony and ideas will shed a powerful light on this problem, a light that will expose the terrible abuses and illuminate our way forward as we join forces to end this crime. Human trafficking injures, traumatizes, and kills individuals. It devastates families and threatens global security. And it involves abhorrent practices, including death bondage, forced labor, torture, organ removal, sexual exploitation, and slavery-like conditions. Traffickers deny victims their fundamental rights, including freedom of movement and freedom from abuse, as well as access to health, education, and decent living. Our fight against human trafficking is guided by three P's: prevention, protection, and prosecution. We must also empower victims. They need support systems, information, and education. They need viable ways to earn living. They also need criminal justice systems to pursue traffickers and subject them to serious penalties. Conviction rates in most countries are microscopic compared to the scope of the problem. But when states help victims, the victims can help states break up trafficking networks. Human trafficking touches on many issues, from health and human rights to development and peace and security. Our response must be equally broad and must tackle this challenge at its roots. We must also recognize that the global economic crisis is making the problem worse. Jobs and food are getting scarcer. Social exclusion is on the rise, making minorities and women especially vulnerable.
The Charter of the United Nations opens with the words, "We the peoples of the United Nations." Indeed, this global body was conceived to be at the service of people all over the world. So your presence here today is important and a timely reminder that the United Nations belongs to all of us. The issue we have come together to discuss is both pressing and urgent. Despite all our efforts, persisting economic disparities, conflicts and discrimination, particularly against women and migrants, continue to push those who are least able to protect themselves into dangerous situations from which they cannot escape. As a result, in every part of the world, countless individuals are carelessly exploited for profit. Yet all states are under international legal obligations to protect the rights of individuals under their jurisdiction and to shield them from exploitation and abuse. My position on the issue of human trafficking is well known. We continue to promote an approach that recognizes trafficking as first and foremost a violation of human rights. My office has been among the most active within the UN system in seeking a response to trafficking that is based on law and human rights. A human rights approach to human trafficking means placing the victim at the center of our consideration and our concern, as advocated by the recommended principles and guidelines on human rights and human trafficking developed by OHCHR in 2002. While trafficking may be a problem related to migration and to transnational crime, it is also and fundamentally an attack on the dignity and integrity of the individual. Trafficking involves practices prohibited in every country, including slavery, debt bondage, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. We fight trafficking because it violates the most fundamental rights we all hold dear: the right to life, to equality, dignity, and security, the right to health, the right to freedom of movement, freedom from violence and abuse, and the right to be recognized as a person before the law. These are rights to which every human being is entitled without discrimination.
My appeal is the affected people should be given support to recover psychologically, physically, and educationally. This will help us to be better citizens in future. I think the way forward, we should put protection of the most vulnerable people as a priority. The women and children who are vulnerable during war should be protected by the states. Mechanism must be put in place to track the people who are missing, as some people are even trafficked by their own relatives. There should be a way of identifying who are these people who are trafficked. The UN protection law should be translated in local languages globally. This will help everyone to understand that they are prone to have rights as human beings. The signatories to the UN statutes should practically adhere to the law they commit themselves to. As per now, I've left so many children behind me, still in captivity. Some of them have already grown into young adults. What can the UN do for them? Are we, the trafficked people, children, women, going to be called rebels or terrorists? One day I was at home, the next day I was among the rebels. Are everyone going to call us rebels or terrorists? Thank you so much.
So we must do something to act. Please, the last word from me is that it will be irresponsible if we fail to act. We are humans, and we should really not support inhuman action, torture on others. Slave trade has been abolished over 200 years, and we can't accept that in our world today. Thank you.